Hey everybody, and welcome to my channel, Talking with Timaiah. I know it has been a little minute, and I am so sorry about that, you guys. So much has been going on. I was going through finals. I deleted all of the final footage, so I couldn't even put that up. Like, somehow I deleted it off of my memory card. Don't know how. And on top of that, I was also preparing a surprise for you guys. So as you guys know, I typically do Timaiah Tuesday, where I have uploads go up every single Tuesday at 8 a.m. Well, as you guys can see right now, it's Sunday. If you have tuned in immediately, it is Sunday, and this video went live on a Sunday. So I have decided that for this summer, and maybe even beyond, depending on how well this goes, I am going to be doing 2 to 3 uploads a week. Now, I'm not going to tell you guys what days those are right now. They will be consistent, but if you guys want to find out, you guys need to turn on that post notification bell so you can be notified whenever I post new content. And if you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button as well. It's completely free to be a subscriber. It's completely free to get notifications, and it would just mean so much to me for you guys to join the family and subscribe. So yes, you guys, so sorry for the delay, but I do have a big surprise for you guys. So now let's get into this video, because this video, I'm keeping it nothing but real with you guys. That's all I know how to do. And this video, I've been telling you guys like throughout this past semester of business school that like I can't wait to sit down and give y'all this video, because there are so many things that I wish I would have known before going into grad school, before going into law school, and just about how different the two are, and even some of the similarities about the two. So let's just get into the video. Okay guys, so I did previously film a video that was pretty similar to this one, which was just like the difference between law school and my MBA program. But at that point, I think I had only been in my program for like a semester. So at this point, now that I have had a full year of law school and a full year of grad school, I think that I can give you guys a more informed opinion. I think that I have a little bit more facts and more experiences that might be able to help you guys out a bit more than the previous video. However, if you haven't seen that video, be sure to check that out. I'll be sure to link that video so you guys can watch that one as well. But this video, I'm hoping, is a little bit shorter than that one, because like I said, I did cover some of these things before, and a lot of the things did remain the same, but there are some pretty big differences that I also want to address. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is my experience as a grad student slash MBA student, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so my experience was difficult. It was a very difficult experience for me, and I can be completely honest with you guys and completely candid when I say that for me personally, grad school or business school specifically was a lot more challenging than law school. Now, grad school is a pretty wide encompassing term, so it can be grad school pretty much can refer to any type of master's program. So like I have friends who are getting their masters in psychology, or like different programs vary, so the level of difficulty will vary. So what made my grad school experience a lot more difficult than law school is just that I did not have the background knowledge that I feel like is essential prior to going into an MBA program. So an MBA program is a completely numbers focused program. So it is a lot of math, a lot of numbers, accounting, finance, business analytics, information systems, so many things that rely on numbers. I have never been really good at math. I don't really know what that phobia is called, where it's like fear of numbers. If you guys know what that phobia is called, leave it below. I don't know what that's called, but I had it, a very chronic version of it. I really truly had that. And so numbers were never my thing, ever. The last time that I took a math class was like a math theory class my first semester of college, and I've never seen numbers again since then. So you can understand that jumping in headfirst into these accounting classes, these finance classes, these business classes, it was a huge shock for me, because I didn't have that solid foundation. So while I did have some classmates who were actually business majors in undergrad, and who had these skills in like Excel and what have you, I did not have that. So it definitely made the program extremely challenging for me. But what I can say is I'm happy for the challenges. I'm happy that I kind of got pushed into it head first, like without a life jacket, like drowning. I drowned. I'm happy for that opportunity, because as someone who wants to be in business, as someone who wants to be an entrepreneur, numbers matter. Numbers matter more than anything. And there's nothing more troublesome than running your own business and not knowing about the numbers. If that's the case, anybody can get over on you. If that's the case, you're not truly informed about your business. You can't really make the strategic decisions that you need to make if you don't know how to look at that number and say, all right, okay, so this is how we're going to proceed. So it was necessary for me to have this information. I feel I know for a fact that I was not going to be able to really sit down and teach myself this stuff without having at least some information about it from my professors, and doing projects that pertain to these topics, and at least doing homework about these topics. Yes, it's definitely possible for you to teach yourself all these things. Business owners do it every single day who don't have a formal education, but I know for myself personally, there will still be things I'll have to teach myself as I go along, but now that I have kind of like that foundational knowledge, it definitely did give me information that I needed. But that is why I will say that business school was more challenging than law school for me. So yeah, that was just my experience. I really did enjoy business school. I loved my classmates. It was a very intimate group of people. I think there was like no more than 14 of us in my cohort. Everyone was super friendly. We worked together a lot. There's a lot of group work in business school or grad school programs, and I don't think I had one group work anything in law school. So as someone who really does love to work with people and interact with people, that definitely was a bonus for business school for me. In regards to faculty assistants and like things like that, I will say that the faculty are more present, and the faculty are more they have a direct hand in what's going on in law school than they really do in business school. Business school is more so of an individual type of thing. In regards to like the faculty they're not really playing a very present role, and I think the reason for that is because a lot of business students are typically older. Like most of the people in my cohort work full-time jobs, they have families, they are 30 and up. Like they are not like people who are fresh out of undergrad. Most business school programs want you to have like a few years of like work experience before you go into those classes. So I think maybe that's why the faculty are not so overbearing. But in law school, a lot of us do come straight out of undergrad, and even so, a lot of us might take a year off or so. So I think the classes are typically maybe younger, so maybe the faculty feel like it's necessary to really have a hand. I don't know. I'm not really sure what the reason for it is, but I can say that one of the law school programs, the faculty, they really try to provide resources, and they really try to make sure that everybody's on track. But business school, not so much. Homework is another thing that I will talk about. So when it comes to homework, law school, all that you're responsible for are your readings. So if there's a point in time where you want to take a week off of reading for law school, but you want to come and pick it back up a week later, like say you're going on vacation or something, and you want to take a week off from your reading, it's cool. The only issue that may present itself is that you get cold called in class, and if that occurs, then you might have to fake it till you make it, or you may have to speak to the professor before class and let them know, hey, I'm not going to be able to answer any cold calls today because unfortunately I have something going on, so I haven't been able to complete the reading. By the way, a lot of professors are completely fine with you doing that, but don't make it a habit because that's not a good look. But if you ever do, that ever does occur, it's better to just let the professor know before class instead of sitting in class like thinking that you might get called on and you didn't do the reading. Just wanted to throw that out there. But business school, on the other hand, this is another thing that made it extremely challenging for me. There's no slacking. There's no slacking in business school. There's no moments of time where you can just say, all right, this week I'm chilling and then I'm gonna pick it back up. There's no time for that. And it sucks because school is so draining and there's so many other things going on in your life. Sometimes you need that break. Sometimes it's like necessary. But in business school, we have so many homework assignments. We have tests every other week, and if it's not a test that week, there's a quiz in this class and a test in this class, and it's alternating. There is always something. There's projects due every other week or every few weeks, and it's just kind of like you don't get a break. a break is not even a thing. And you guys have seen several of my vlogs where I'm just like, I'm drowning in work right now, and I'm trying to like feel good about myself and really make a dent in this work. And the moment I make a dent in that work and I complete it all, I have like 15 more assignments to complete, and that blows me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not the biggest fan of that, only because I don't like busy work. I don't like to feel like you're giving me something just because you feel like you have to give me something. That doesn't appeal to me in the least bit. I definitely do, I think, prefer the law school method of testing students. We go to class, we interact with the material throughout the semester, and then we have a few things that determine our grade. And when you hear it like that, it kind of sounds like, well, if you're having a bad day, like, yeah, you have it's a bad deal for you, which is true. If you bomb an exam in law school, you bombed that class, and that sucks. But in business school, please do not give me 15 assignments for a 6-week period. That is absurd to me. I don't like it. I don't know, that's just me personally, but that's another huge difference between the two. One of them, it's like your grade is dependent on one thing, another one, your grade is dependent on multiple things. But the issue about that multiple thing is that the work never eases up. So if you're someone who's really okay with like busy work and like doing a lot of things and having a paper this week, having a project the following week, having a quiz the next week, a test the next week, and then repeating, and this is going on in 3 or 4 different classes, then definitely it's cool, it's fun for you. But if you're not someone who likes that, I would say just be prepared for that. I'm not going to say don't go to grad school, because that would be insane. If this is something that you want to do, nothing will keep you from your goal. But I will say be prepared and be mindful that that is a thing. I do like the fact that you have a lot of times to recover. In the event that you don't do well on an assignment, you can definitely say, okay, I didn't do too good on this one, but I'm going to work really hard so that I can do well on the next one. Like, I do love that. But maybe if there was a program that had a nice medium where, you know, you had a few things to do, maybe like 3 or so homework assignments, 2 quizzes, and 2 midterms, something like that, I think that would be a very healthy medium. But to have so many projects and stuff like that, hard pass, no. I'm not checking for it. I wasn't a fan, but you know, that's a part of the curriculum. So the next thing I want to go into is how we learn in those programs. So for those of you guys who are interested in law school, the way we learn the law is by cases. So we have case books for each of our law classes, and we pretty much go through these cases, and these cases pretty much teach us how the law is applied. From there, you can case brief so that you can kind of have an understanding of what the holding was in that case, and you can see different jurisdictions and how they apply this law, and that's pretty much how you learn the law. It's a very interactive process. You read the material, you can brief the material, you talk about it in class, you discuss it with your classmates, discuss it with the professor, go to office hours, you continuously talk about these cases and the precedent and how it works and how it would work with a different fact pattern, and what's the difference in this fact pattern and this fact pattern, and why did this court hold this and this court hold that. It's very analytical. It's just very like looking at previous cases, looking at precedent, and thinking about how it would apply in a future situation. Business school is different. Instead of us looking at cases and doing case briefs, the way we learn in business school is we use case studies. So it's typically, say, a study on a business, and we cover issues that business has dealt with. So it pretty much goes through all of the numbers that the business had used, and it's pretty much like a story. It's like a form of storytelling. So you see step by step what that business did, who they hired, how much money they spent for marketing, how much money they spent for this, how much revenue they gained, and it's pretty much like you're looking at an example of what this company did. It's not very often that we really apply what we learned in case studies to our exams. It's just more so just giving us an actual insight into how big companies that we're familiar with conduct business, or how they handle certain strategic issues that might come about. So it's pretty different in that regard. In business school, we also have, you know, textbooks. Like for my accounting and finance class, it's pretty much just like there's numbers and there's problems and there's homework solutions, and the way you learn is like by completing the homework solutions, and then we go over it in class. And then there's in both business school and law school, it's lectures, lecture style. The professors pretty much lecture. I would say business school is very much so interactive, in the sense that like there's a lot of debate, a lot of discussion, a lot of like bouncing ideas off of each other, communicating directly with the professor. Law school, in certain classes it's like that, but in other classes some of the professors really do take the reins, and then they just code call, as opposed to business school where there's not really even many times where I like raise my hand. It's more so like a dialogue. So a professor will bring up an idea or a topic, and we'll just kind of like bounce ideas off of each other and talk. So I will say I do love in business school how like I can have really great conversations with my classmates and really get insight from people who are so smart and who have like different perspectives than I do, but I can just hear like what their mindset is and why they think this or why they think that, and it really does kind of like open your eyes to the fact that people really do think differently than you, but it's super interesting to hear what their viewpoint is on certain topics. So I do like that about business school for sure. But yeah, law school, it's very much so code called, and some people have asked me about code calls. I do want to talk about that super quickly. It's okay if you get code called and you don't know the answer. Nothing bad is going to happen to you. A lot of people are so caught up with wanting to look smart in front of their classmates, or wanting to convey this image of knowing it all and having it all together. But please be mindful that that doesn't happen for anybody. Don't be that person who's trying to put on the facade and act like you have it all and you know all the answers. That person is somebody who we call a gunner. In law school, that person is a gunner, and ain't nobody checking for the gunners. Nobody, not even the professor. So don't think that you are going to be penalized if you don't know the answer. You try your best. You do your work. You do your work at the outset. Don't go into class not prepared, because at that point it's kind of like you're wasting your time, you're wasting the professor's time, unless it's an extenuating circumstance where you didn't have the opportunity, or you just needed a mental break and you couldn't really get that work done. Don't be that person who's just showing up present and unaccounted for. Do your work, do your part, but understand that there are so many times when you won't know the answer. Sometimes law professors will frame the question in the way that is just like, do you even know what you're asking me? Do you know? Because I've had questions sometimes where I'm just like, Professor, with all due respect, what case did you read? Because I read the case, I briefed the case, I did everything, and I don't even understand what you're asking. And by the looks of the rest of the class, we all are confused. Like, that happens a lot more than I wish it did. But it's okay. Don't let that discourage you. Don't feel like, oh, no, everybody thinks I'm dumb. First of all, who cares what those weirdos think? If somebody thinks you're dumb because you don't know the answer, they are dumb. Because you're not going to know everything, and that's okay. It's okay. I have not known the answer plenty of times, and the beauty of it is law school is pretty much a I can't remember the word, but it's more so like a discrete grading. So the professor is blind grading. The professor doesn't know whose work they're grading. The professor is not going to say, all right, 10 points off of her exam, because I remember one day on October 16th, I asked her a question and she didn't know the answer. So she gets 10 points off. It's not like that. So it's all good. It's all good to not know the answer, because it doesn't affect your grade whatsoever. Just participate if there's an opportunity to participate. Do your work, and if you don't know it, just say, that's a really good question. I'm not sure, Professor. Like, it's okay. It's okay. Trust me. I've said to my professor before, like, that's a really good question. Like, I don't know. I reversed it and I asked him the question. What do you think? Like, I'm a little bit immature and kind of playful with some of my professors who I have a good relationship with, but some of them I would never say that. But it's okay. Just read the situation. If you don't know it, you just don't know it. The next thing I want to talk about before I close out this video is just the grading between the two. So for those of you guys who are once again familiar with law school, we're graded on a curve. So that's what brings in the negativity of law school, because you're graded against your classmates. So it's pretty much, it's not about how good you do. You can have done amazing. It could have been the best exam you've ever taken, but you're graded against your classmates. So if homeboy over here did super amazing and phenomenal, and it was the best essay that your professor has ever seen, and it's literally a top of the line professional style essay, he's all the way over here. He has the A+ star. It's what we call it at our school. The highest grades are A+ stars, and then it goes to A+, and then A's and then A minuses, blah blah blah. He has the A+ star, and then from there, there's the curve. The curve can be very tight depending on what type of section you are in. If you're in a section that is known as the smart section, which is the section I was in, unfortunately, it can be a super tight curve because it can be like, all of y'all are brilliant, what the heck are we gonna do? And it can be super interesting to see how the grades turn out. In business school or grad school programs, on the other hand, while the professor might curve the grades in the sense that they might give extra points to everybody because everybody did bad, you're not graded against your classmates. So it's like, what grade you get is the grade you earned. And I think it does give you a sense of accountability because it's kind of like, dang, I bombed that one, but I can't blame nobody but myself. But then I could say, like, there's pros and cons to both, because there are moments in business school where I was just like, gosh, I bombed that one. I wish there was a curve, because I feel like everybody bombed it, and because of that, like, somebody has to get an A. Like, no matter how bad we all did, somebody has to get an A. So that means that you get closer and closer to that B range, even though you deserve the C, you know? So I do sometimes the curve can be super helpful, and sometimes individual grading, especially when you really did the work, you prepare for it, you study for that exam for weeks, and you're just ready to kill it, and you get that A+ that you worked so hard for. It feels so good because you know, I did this. It wasn't based on everybody in my class. It was based off the work that I delivered. It was based off of my own effort, the fruits of my own labor, and that can feel really good. So yeah, they're just two very different grading process in law school and in grad school. So I do want to bring that to you guys' attention for those of you guys who might not know how the grading works. So all in all, I would say that I am very happy that I did the joint program. I'm super excited to be able to get my law degree and also get my MBA. Like, I think that this is something that I definitely got a lot of blood, sweat, and tons of tears to get this far, but I still have a long way to go. But I would just definitely say that if you're somebody who's considering doing a joint program, and there's plenty of joint programs, there's not only JD MBA programs, there are so many different ones. I do know of a JD MPH program, and I'm pretty sure, like, depending on what school you go to, they have other options or other opportunities for you. I would just say do your research. Definitely take heed to what I'm telling you guys. There are some people who will go to business school and it will be nothing but a breeze for them. There are two people at my school who did the JD MBA program, myself and then one of my classmates, and when I tell you guys, I don't think she struggled once with anything in the MBA program. She's very brilliant. Her background is in business, and she's such a hard worker. She's so, like, on it. She gets it, and it's beautiful to see, because I'm like, dang girl, how you know how to do that? Who taught you that? Like, nobody taught me that. She knew it. She knew everything. So I can assure you, like, business school was not a struggle for her. It's all about who you are and what you bring to the table, and it's okay to struggle. We look at struggle sometimes as failure, and that's the furthest thing from it. Struggling means that you're trying. It means that you're putting in the effort, and if you mess up or you don't do well, you just push yourself and you keep going and you try again. And just be mindful of that. Just because something doesn't come easy to you doesn't mean it's not for you. It just means that you might have to work a little bit harder than other people, and that's a-okay. There's nothing wrong with working a little bit harder, because sometimes when you work super hard for something, you enjoy it a little bit more because you know what you had to do to get what you wanted to get. So I would definitely say keep that in mind. Do your research on these programs. See if it's something that you really want to do. Law school, some of the things I didn't even say, because I did mention it in the past video, is just the environment of law school. A lot of people will say that the stress of law school makes it hard to be successful. It can be sometimes a very confrontational environment if you let it. It can sometimes be people who you feel like are plotting against you. Like, there's a bunch of, like, common criticisms about law school. So I will say that, you know, do your research, but also be strong enough in yourself to not let outside forces affect you. There might be some weirdos who are all in your business and trying to overwhelm you because they think that it will help them with the curve, but there will also be people who are there, who are on your team and who want to work with you and who want to do group work with you. Like, you just have to be a good judge of character, and you just kind of have to realize that if you're strong enough in yourself and you don't let negativity infiltrate into your positive bubble, you're gonna be fine. So I do want to let you guys know that. Yes, there are a lot of cons to law school. Law school is, you know, just like anything, there are its pros, there are its cons, there are its benefits. There's people who think one thing, who think another. It's just everybody's experience is a little bit different. So I just wanted to give you guys direct insight into what my experiences were like for both of these programs. And I will still be going with both of these programs until I graduate, which is in like a year and a half. So you guys will hear a lot more from me about this, but I just wanted to quickly just tell you guys about my experience as a grad student and just some of the differences between the programs. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I appreciate you guys more than you guys know. I am so looking forward to these 2 to 3 uploads a week. I think it's going to be so exciting. But you guys, what I need from you guys is some engagement. I want to make sure that you guys are actually enjoying my content. So leave me comments below. Like my video if you guys have any questions or want to ask me further information. You guys can follow my social media and just send me a direct message on Instagram and I will get back to you guys. And I just want to thank you guys so much for your love and support. I will see you guys in my next video. Turn on that post notification so you guys can see when that is. Thank you guys so much for watching and I'll see you guys next time.